These people are evil. These people are sick. And these people get paid to destroy the truth and destroy people that are saying the truth. Right? These people are fucking evil. Didn't you already know this? Yeah, you did, but I didn't know. There's people that you guys don't know that I've been involved with that it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Khazarian Mafia. That's right. The Khazarian fucking Mafia.
So I never use Zoom for this kind of stuff. I normally don't do interviews. So this is kind of like out of my, I normally just do documentaries and things. So, but I thought this was worthwhile because of everything that's been going on. So I guess we'll start out with Brian, just to get a little background information for people. Your dad founded Tseng Labs, a big name in the tech industry in the 1990s. Can you tell me a little bit about your family legacy?
Yes. Thanks for having us on, Titus. Thrilled to be here, and especially given all the events that we're going to be referring to during this show. Um, I'm a ABC American born Chinese, and so my father, his family came over in the wake of World War II from China to Taiwan and then New York City. And then my mother's family in the wake of World War II, China to Hong Kong to New York City. That's where my parents met. They went from New York City to the Pennsylvania, New Jersey areas. And when they settled down in Pennsylvania, my father, he began with Xerox as like an engineer programmer for them when they were really early on trying to take on and catch up to Apple and IBM in the personal computing market. That obviously never happened. When their whole personal computing division just folded, my father went and said, "Hey, let me see what I can do." Starting, it was first Zoom Computing or Zoom Labs, and then it became Sang Labs later on, out of our basement. And he basically pioneered the computer graphics industry on the IBM PC side because Apple, they used to be far and ahead integrating graphics and sound and everything. So they were the platform of choice for any directors or musicians by default. Well, because my father catching IBM compatibles up in terms of the graphics, making cheap uh affordable video cards, he helped to kind of revolutionize the IBM PC side, and that afforded him the ability to give us all, an excellent lifestyle and me an excellent education, and it went from there.
Interesting. That's definitely a very interesting background. There's a lot I could dig into on that, but we'll
Well,
move
I'll give
on
you one more
to.
tidbit. One more tidbit is, among other things that he did in pioneering the computer graphics industry, he pioneered overclocking. It was first
Oh,
applied by him on the GPU graphical interface side, and then later on they applied it to this computer processor unit CPU side to overclock games.
yep. Very interesting stuff. Um, so you're big into disclosure, Brian, regarding extraterrestrial life. I've watched some of this stuff over the years. I've always found it kind of fascinating. Obviously, I watch like Ancient Aliens, which has David Wilcock on it all the time. I was wondering, do you think that former, what is it, Gaia Media personalities are all being targeted by this group?
So, um, I don't know about this group targeting all of them, but I do know that the group of cyberbullies and trolls that we'll be discussing tonight, they definitely targeted David. I believe he complained about them to his friends and to Sarah, by name. We can name Steve Cambian and Truth. I call it Truth with an Troof Seekers, um, on YouTube, because what these cyberbullies and trolls do is they've taken on this kind of gonzo journalism, vigilantism type approach to whoever that gets in their crosshairs. And because, hey, someone like me or David Wilcock or Sarah will be talking about aliens, time travel, secret space programs, whatever it is that's beyond the pale for them, because it's so beyond the pale, they automatically put us all in the category of grifters and charlatans. Therefore, we're dehumanized and we're to be degraded and dragged through the mud. And if our lives are destroyed by cyberbullying, harassment, doxing of private information, people doing social engineering, harassing our friends and family and workplaces, that stepped over the line from satire and parody and reportage, whatever they want to call it, to federal cyber stalking and harassing laws that carry anywhere from 0 to 5 years of imprisonment to 5 years to life if the victims of the abuse die as a result. And tonight we're going to talk about Isaac Kappy, David Wilcock, and James Rink, all three of whom were harassed by members of this kind of troll network. And all three are not with us today. And all three did suffer to whatever extent of mental, emotional, financial anguish at the hands of not just these individuals, but they're acting as a group, which makes it that much worse.
Yeah. And Sarah, you want to give us a little insight into your background, and do you have a sort of similar story as what's been going on with these other people that have been targeted?
Yeah, so I I have a bit of a long story. I actually was born with the ability to see auras, different gifts, different abilities. And also I was diagnosed at 30 when with lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and all sorts of health issues, which I healed myself from via detox and herbs energy work. And I was guided by the angels because I see angels and the divine. So that's kind of my background. I'm kind of connected. How could I put this? My grandfather, he's not my blood grandfather. He adopted my mom from France. She was at the Edwards Air Force Base. He was close to President Reagan. I know a lot about the ET stuff going on. So there's a big ET connection there that I've, spoken about. And currently, currently, I guess like I've kind of just stopped coaching. I had a near-death experience over a year ago with Steve Harvey's family when we were filming a documentary, and I had to heal from heart and brain damage. Brian knows a lot about that. And so I've kind of taken a long time off to rest. That's why this whole time I haven't said anything. I've been self-focused, focused on healing, and I have healed irreparable brain and heart damage that the doctors were like, we don't think you're going to heal this. This is going to be something lifelong. You're going to have to be on all these meds. It's going to take a year of rehabilitation because I lost motor control. So it's been a journey to get here. And now that I'm here, looking back on, everything that happened with this whole group, it's like, wow, I was in the ER. They knew this. They knew I was unwell, and they purposely did this. So now I want to get the truth out there. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and that's definitely very commendable that you're able to do that and get yourself on a right path and, obviously heal yourself some pretty major things going on. Over the years, I've built a network of, friends, allies, anons, former LEOs, people who know how to find stuff. We've broken lots of stories over the past dozen years. I've written books and produced a documentary on things like the Epstein list. So I know the truth community really well. You and David Wilcock were good friends. I was somewhat kind of, friendly with people like Isaac Kappy, other people in the past that have been trolled by this group, like Random Rants Orion, I was good friends with. The Honeybee, another documentary maker I was good friends with.
So yeah, Tere Joyce is some kind of idiot. So if you guys want to get involved, I've been asked to send people after Tere Joyce and those people. So if you're gonna want to get involved, if you want to be my crew, then if you want to support the All Seeing You.
Do you think the constant attack by some folks on David contributed to his depression and subsequent suicide?
Certainly. And I have, it gave me panic attacks. And I have a record of that with everyone around me, with the doctors, everything. So I've kept full record of that. And yes, I do. I was not very close friends with David. I would speak to him, every so long back and forth. I remember him telling me some years back, he's like, I'm dealing with Steve Cambian. He's a very nasty person. He's cyber stalking me. What he's doing is criminal. And he was doing the same thing to me. So we connected too on that, and just years ago that basically because him and Corey Good were really good friends. Roger, their manager, had bought a ticket for Max, and Max died 3 days. I don't know if you know about Max Spears. He's my ex-boyfriend who passed away, and Roger had bought him a ticket so that he could come to the United States and surprise me. He died 3 days before boarding that plane. And yes, I do. It's the same group that also when Max died, I was here in the United States. Max died in Poland. He died of a drug overdose. They tried to frame me as somebody who murdered him. It was absolutely insane to go through. Terry was big in that. She was absolutely big in that. She has a shrine to him right now. So I went through this like craziness of where I'm mourning somebody that died and having to deal, with being called a murderer. Right now, it's somebody that I know, and it's like, okay, David was a sweet soul. He was a very sweet soul. I don't care if you believe that the teacup is God, or if you believe this or this or this. Your freedom of religion, you do not deserve to be bullied every day, every other day, constantly over your belief system for years. That's why we have freedom of religion.
So, we're just trying to do the best that we can. So I really want to appreciate you, David. I talked to your buddy Chris, hoping we can make it happen. That's cool. Thank you, Kingsman Collective. All right. So we're doing the best that we can, and we're trying to be a good guy here. So everybody is doing their best, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I didn't necessarily fall in line with a lot of stuff David Wilcock said, but I've never gone out of my way to attack someone like that, because no one has a monopoly on truth, just like how me and Isaac would have our differences, but I wouldn't go and attack Isaac because we're all up against a, elite group of satanic pedophiles that run the country. And anyone speaking out against that kind of stuff or against the powers that shouldn't be is an ally. And, we can all have our differences and we shouldn't attack one another. One of the weird things I noticed when I just looked into Cambian for just a very short period of time was one of his previous emails was Haywire 666. So once again, like one of these weird, satanic connections to this. And a lot of these people, when I've gone and like looked into their connections and who they're connected with, this troll group, they have an odd connection to Satanic Temple. They have an odd connection to groups like Hoaxstead, which were all a bunch of Satanists and things of that nature.
PDF files.
Yeah,
they're
obviously that as well.
Yeah, they're all surrounded. It's so weird. Their whole entourage is basically, if you say PDF files, pedophile files, and I've noticed that's and there's a lot of like dark magic going on. I know the group, and Brian can back me up on this because we actually know the person.
Who
They
named
tried to
Carissa Renteria?
Oh yeah, she's one of Cambian, Terry's, Taj's entourage. Her and Taj were asking for animal sacrifice for me to be murdered via black magic. They were like screaming that they were going to continue doing it until I was dead. And then they tried to turn the whole thing over on me. So yeah, it's been oops.
Can we give a little bit of chronology? Perhaps it might be helpful to our audience.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. You're welcome to do that.
Thank you. Okay, so we know that Isaac Kappy became a target for this cyberbully army, particularly I call them Pedo Casino instead of Kino Casino. And we can discuss that during this show. Because Isaac was talking about the these underground satanic PDF file networks in Hollywood and Washington, D.C., but especially Hollywood. And at that point, he was being targeted as like a QAnon guy. And in that time, before all these Epstein files had been released and all the you know, the P-gate stuff is being validated. And now under this administration, it's a very, I think, different time than when Isaac was first coming out with a lot of this information and bearing a lot of the brunt because he was like the lone Hollywood insider whistleblower coming out. And then he talked about having Jim Carrey calling him, pleading him to do X, Y, and Z. But it was Isaac was always out front and therefore taking the hits and getting the pressure. And Isaac, he was basically hounded relentlessly, and then anyone in his circle who stood up for him was likewise hounded relentlessly. And part of how they were hounded was Kino Casino. It's this show on kick.com where these two gentlemen, Andrew Warski and PPP, they basically drag people onto the felt of their virtual Kino table to basically make fun of people who go onto the media and go bust by saying such woo crazy things and who get destroyed in the process. And meanwhile, they've got this live chat running on the side, and it seems like they're like taking bets about how they can destroy people's lives. And meanwhile, they're encouraging all sorts of, as we've discussed, illegal activity.
I can show this, or it's so hard to tell if you're allowed to show these. Now, this person, she is 15, Ralph.
Let me see. Oh,
That's like
15, 17, what, almost 18K followers.
You're not allowed to cyber stalk and harass people, and once you make it a group activity, now it's gang stalking. And to do this kind of Howard Stern shock jock troll format, and then they've spun off kind of smaller shows, and then Steve Cambian's Truthseekers and Tere Joyce's
another
Not My
version.
Rabbit
Yeah.
Hole. They
Another
kind of
versions of that, yeah.
they're like the junior wannabes of Pedo Casino. And so another friend of that circle is Tajinder Gill. He used to be Sarah's business manager and web administrator when he was introduced to her. She was introduced to him by members of the community that we trusted, and it turns out that Taj has abused his role. He was siphoning, and Sarah has all the bank records to prove this, money out of her bank account and PayPal stream. For years, he wasn't doing all the payments that he was supposed to be doing. That's how Sarah found out when her car payments were in arrears, even though he told her he was using the money he's supposed to be managing for that. He was diverting it apparently into a meth addiction, which he has admitted to on various occasions.
Yes. And I did send you in all of his admitting to it and statements from people around me where he called them and admitted to it. Yeah, and he was stealing quite a bit of money. And then as soon as I cut him off, and I can say a little bit about this, Brian, too, because obviously we have the same manager, me and Brian. And then
A different
his
manager
team-
now who's a good friend of ours, but
Yes.
not Taj, not Taj.
Yes, not Taj, a different manager. That's our manager now. So he was able to, he tried to go get control of my website. Taj actually kept my website, and he was taking payments and then telling those people to go report me for fraud because they weren't getting their sessions. I didn't have any access to my website. I sent you, the team trying to get into the website, trying to get all the information, and basically perpetuating like all these lies on me was Terry helping him, Steve Cambian helping him, and then acting like he's the victim, where he's the meth addict and he's also the criminal. He's hacked into my iCloud right now. I'm currently working, to try to get him out of that. He had my website. He had literally all my bank details, everything. He had gotten to everything controlled it. And then he told my friend he owned me. He told my friend all sorts of weird stuff about me. And then he was saying because he loves me, I'm a narcissist because I don't return that love to him. And I've never had anything romantic. I've always thought of him as somebody who worked for me, you know, that was sort of my friend, not anything more than that. And it was like really crazy to go through this. And then I paid this man's life for years and years and years and years. He had to do nothing. I would pay his taxes and stuff. He just sat around, and he also abused the fact that, you know, I was very kind and used that. And then now he's become the big victim. And now apparently, you know, he's also saying that he's the victim of Brian, whom he's never met. He's my victim. This man could be, you know, he's the age of my father. He's not a victim. And it's so crazy to see people like Terry, who's just like, oh, you know, I don't care he's a meth addict. I don't care he's a criminal. I don't care that you posted all the receipts. I'm just going to go lie because, well, I'm a horrible person. That's what Terry is. Basically, she's a horrible person. So she just like perpetuates people trying to bully me because I believe she's extremely jealous of me. And I also believe she's targeted me because there are some connections to the deep state. I do think that Cambian and Tere Joyce are deep state agents that are also working for dark forces that were put into our community to go after certain targets, to tear them apart, to try to discredit us and make us look crazy and make us look really bad so that people don't believe what we talk about. Because going back to the whole thing with Epstein years and years ago, because I have abilities, I actually have this ability where I can see into other places. I can see things going on. I have ability where I had like I know it's going to sound pretty intense, where I would find myself in these children's bodies and they were being abused by the elite. And I actually did videos about this, and everybody was like, you're crazy for saying that. But I kept having this happen every single day. I kept seeing that there were graveyards of children that the elite were abusing in satanic rituals and, you know, doing terrible things to. And I kept seeing this every day. And imagine, like, I saw this as a child myself. I saw this for years and years and years. And I was like, I can't live no more with like not saying anything. So I actually did an interview with Miles Johnson for the Bases Project back then. And it was like, oh my God, I have to tell people there are graveyards out there of children around bases, around mansions, you know, that of children that they have exploited, which they just found, by the way, Zorro Ranch. So I was right about these things, and I didn't want to be right about them, but I was experiencing them like I was there. So I did videos about that. And those videos, even though like they had like 1 million views, I got really bullied for it. And now people are realizing, yes, I was speaking the truth. So it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah, and Terry Joyce has defamed you. She's defamed me. She constantly claims that I'm a QAnon proprietor. She has been out there working with a MSU professor to like propagate that Thomas Schoenberger and other people like myself were the creators of QAnon, even though there is ample evidence that people like me were against that the entire time, because I always saw it as like a fire when you have a lot of people discussing things like Pizzagate. What the intelligence agencies had to do was create a control fire to suck the oxygen out of people discussing what was a very real phenomenon going on with people being interested in Pizzagate. And then they created Q, which sucked the oxygen right out of that fire in the minds of men.
Well, if I
And
may,
yep.
on that, just because a lot of people, they kind of tend to conflate Q Anonymous and then QAnon, and then it's like they're all the same thing all of a sudden, when that's not the case. Q apparently is just at its base a military operation. Anonymous is a decentralized hackers collective, and then QAnon are people who are a mix of those who self-identify with both Q and Anonymous, thus QAnon, and then a whole bunch of imposters and infiltrators coming in to try to overly right-wing honeypot the situation, kind of like a virtual January 6th, if you will.
Yep, and that's what they did with Anonymous. There's a great book on that called Hoaxers, Whistleblowers, and Spies by, I can't remember the name, but I was in Anonymous back in 2012. Some of my good friends were like the original creators of that and have moved on and no longer do that stuff. I'm also friends with people that are like the Lizard Squad group. And these guys, like for instance, Sean Atwood with the Phoenix Enigma, did an entire LARP back in the day where they said that Lizard Squad had given them the Epstein files, and now they've deleted all these claims from the internet because people like me reached out to Lizard Squad and just said, "Hey, are you guys connected to this at all?" And they were like, "No, we have nothing to do with this." And
Oh,
then they
wow.
go and delete those claims. But Enigma is like one of these members of this group, along with other characters like Defango, and you have the whole
But
like
see, they're
Sewer Town
infiltrators. They're
crew.
they're not. DeFango is clearly not in earnest. So it's almost like an insult to call him part of QAnon. That's like saying, there's like a rally of pro-Trump people, and I hate Trump, let's say, and I put on a pro-Trump hat, and I go in and I start throwing stink bombs all over the place, and hey, all of a sudden I'm a Trumper, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's true.
Dude, you're done. And I expect that $1,000 in my bank account, in my PayPal by the end of today. And if that $1,000 is not in my PayPal at the end of the day, more information will be released. This time it's going to be the stuff that shows you doing nasty things to melons and things. And
Yeah, Defango did that with the Cicada 3301 group where he tried to
Correct.
infiltrate it. And then he was the one that outed like Thomas Schoenberger, who's another one of these people that this group targets.
Where I'm literally talking about somebody coming and knocking on my window because of gang stalking all the way back in 2013. I've got Thomas so far in a corner right now. I don't know why everybody else is fighting, and I'm so fucking tired of it. I'm so tired of Lestat and Defango having their whiny little battle where they won't share fucking emails with each other and shit. Like, wasn't the whole point to call Thomas out on his bullshit 3 years ago?
Yes.
And do what we could do to make it to where Thomas Schoenberger didn't have any of the power that he was using against Isaac Kappy? Isn't that why the fuck we're here?
Bingo.
I've been listening to this whole thing. And Sherry, I don't even have a problem with you. I don't know you. But you've been amazing every time you've been on.
And Thomas was not like a known entity online. No one knew that he was one of the 3 creators of Cicada until Defango went on YouTube and doxed them. And then they all participated along with Daniel Dowd, who's a good friend of Tere Joyce.
I can't get a fucking job. Google my fucking name.
In Daniel's situation, we spoke about it as well. Daniel finding a job, sure, some of that could be because of the crazy shit that was put out about Daniel online. Somehow Daniel's got to find a way to clean that shit up. I can't clean it up for him. Nobody else can. That's between Daniel and whoever put the shit out. One of them was Gabe Hoffman. We all know that.
Yes.
Let the games begin.
Hi. Hi, Daniel.
Like the pride catcher community, I find in looking at it, I'm like, there's a lot more drama and people, doing all this stuff than there is actually, like, really, these are the people that are the ones who are supposed to be saving kids? No, that's the circus. That's the distraction. Because if they were actually really, like, trying to, like, help children, they wouldn't have time to be doing what they're doing. That's just absolutely logical. And yeah, in my opinion, and I'm entitled to have one. My feeling is David Schroeder has been grifting for a really long time, and he carelessly points fingers at people, and he keeps trying to do the same. Like, when I talk about the wig, well, the same narrative is the same thing with Corey Daniels and Daniel Dowd. It's the same story over and over again. OG Mitch R does it on his channel. And, coincided. Watch the timing of like an OG Mitch R video, and then something that Denise or Schroeder says, and you will see. I've actually even noticed that though in patterns, Hoax, Denise, Jedi, they'll be on Jason Goodman for a while.
And he's a convicted. PDF. Yeah, he has criminal records and stuff like that. And there was another dude named Dustin Reddy who's now serving time. And these were all infiltrators that tried to steal the cicada puzzle and steal the cicada 3301 name and use it for their own, right? One of the guys even took his story of cicada and sold it, and now there's this crappy movie about cicada 3301 that was given to the writers of that film by one of the puzzle solvers, not one of the puzzle creators, which Thomas is one of the puzzle creators. But it's the same thing where they try to infiltrate things to destroy them from within.
Yeah, and I found out someone that I thought was helping me out was actually doing the opposite, getting my trust to tank me and sink me.
Which is, they did that to Anonymous, and now they're trying to do that to the truth community, where they try to, befriend you or, get you involved. Like Tere Joyce interviewed me along with other people and tried to be friendly with us at first, and then turncoat on us immediately afterwards and started attacking.
That happened to me with her too. So actually, back in the day, Max didn't want to interview her. He didn't get a good vibe from her. He thought she was very creepy. And I actually told him, I was like, Max, be nice to an interview with her. I did a show with her, and then I also donated money to her, by the way, when she posted that she was homeless. And it was so crazy because like a week after I donated money to her, she had my picture blown up, and it was really creepy. And she was like saying that I had killed Max and all this different stuff. It was pretty crazy. And
Can I say that how damaging that
Brian,
is? It's super damaging to spread like rumors that people murdered other people.
Exactly. And the thing is like Terry does not know better than all the police and the investigators who came to the conclusion that Max OD'd, that people did give him drugs. And I don't know why she didn't go research this. Like it says in the court case online, it doesn't take many brain cells to Google it. Google court case, he was given drugs, and the people bought out the whole pharmacy and gave him drugs. Like, you call yourself an investigative journalist, how can you just not go online, get a court case, and be like, wow, maybe we should investigate why these people bought a whole pharmacy of drugs out and gave it to this man who died? Did they want him dead? Nobody's investigated that. Why are you accusing me? Oh, because you're jealous of me, Terry. That's just it. I've come to this conclusion that it's really, honestly, Brian, even though she's a dark worker and I do believe she's got connection to the deep state with what I'm finding out, I do believe she's just a very jealous person, an envious person. But also, this goes a bit further. It's like the whole PDF file thing, right? We have Carmen Joy, and Carmen Joy is not her real name, by the way. Carmen Joy, back in the day, she sent, and I sent you some of those, just that I thinking about it, it's like, it's terrible. Carmen tried to give her child, her little girl, to a self-proclaimed pedophile. She was bringing that child to him. And this guy was really mentally messed up. He sent me the messages boasting about it. I forwarded the messages, me and Max did, because that's when Max was alive. We forwarded the messages to the police, to the father. That day he took that little girl. She lost custody. This woman, she's a drug addict, Carmen. She's one of Tere Joyce's best friends, literally best friends. One of Steve Cambian's circles, one of Taj's best friends, literally. This is the sort of people that are in this circle. She's a pedophile. Recently, she posted, she has pictures of children in her phone. She did a post, and then I've never met this woman. She said, and you know what? It's Sarah who put them there. And I was like, oh my God, this woman is literally, she has pictures of children. She's connected to Steve Cambian. I don't know what's going on. She's connected to this Meyer girl. That's a whole nother thing. I don't know what's going on. I know these people meet each other, they hang out, things like that. I'm like, this woman should not be allowed around anybody who has children, around any child whatsoever. She's posting that she has pictures and trying to frame me, who's never met her, as putting them in her phone. I can't even light this up. I am not. I report. I was abused as a kid. I am extremely against that. And she's literally trying to say that. And I'm like, wow. And that's when I actually did call CPS on Steve Cambian, because I sent you the messages where I'm like, this is really worrisome, Steve, that you are connected to a person who's posting that they have pictures of children in their phone right now. And you're silent about it. Terry's silent about it. Taj is silent about it. Nobody's saying anything. I have people on the internet screaming at me, Sarah, we know you didn't do this, but this person has these pictures they're saying, and they clearly have those pictures. So I called CPS to make sure that his kids were okay, because I think that that's fair to do. Also, we had a lawyer. My lawyer told me that was going through the stuff, was like, oh my God, you need to call on this. This is not okay. So my whole investigation into this, I am not an investigative journalist. I will not claim that. And but I will say is that I have been researching, and I found out that this whole group, basically pedophiles, criminals, it's like the lowest of people, and then they've come together in sort of like a wolf pack, and they attack whoever is the target. And they're trying to claim right now, they're trying to claim that Brian is a human trafficker. Brian, I really want you to bring up the story of what happened with that too.
Okay, so the way I got my foot in this big mess is that I had kind of had enough with learning about Tajender Gill constantly ripping off Sarah, and then I was starting to stand up for Sarah, and then Tajender was starting to focus this kind of troll cyberbullying towards me, spreading lies and things like I wanted
He
to
was
beat
like
him up.
saying,
And so
yeah, and he was
I
like saying that I'm an escort, which is, is crazy. I've had my boyfriend for a long time. I'm not like that whatsoever. He was trying to say, Brian, that I was sleeping with you for money, just like he did our manager, like, because he's all sorts of crazy. But yeah, that's why he targeted you, because he posted something about that, and then he started targeting you.
so this is literally the last evening of my 2025 Full Disclosure Now conference last year, last July. And I was a little tipsy. I don't normally drink a lot, but I had a lot of champagne that evening. It was the last night of my big international conference. And so I messenger audioed him, and that's basically like, you dirty rat. I'm going to hire private investigators and F up your world because the regular police haven't been able to pull their thumbs out of their butts in the UK and do their jobs. Well, what he did is he recorded that conversation without my knowledge. I mean, I'm not surprised he recorded it, but then he edited it and then he put it up on YouTube and he turned it into an episode saying, Sarah R. Adams wants me dead, as if Sarah here
I
put
wasn't
me,
even there.
right, as if Sarah put me up to making death threats against
Yeah.
Taj when my effing up his world was bringing him to justice, not the way he made it out to be, like I was threatening physical violence. So that is yet further making up lies and publicizing them as if they're true when they aren't. And those are very dangerous because now you got this whole troll army of people thinking that I'm issuing, death threats or whoever or whatever to Tajender in this case, when that's not
Right. It is.
true
And
at all.
they're thinking I'm a murderer. And we have Tere Joyce here who's saying, oh, yeah, Sarah murdered Max. Oh, yeah, Sarah's trying, David Schroeder, I believe that he's dealing with some issues, he's been a sweetheart to me. I talk to him sometimes. I do believe that he's dealing with some deep mental health issues. I have a lot of compassion for him. I sent him some money and I have actually forwarded that to everyone. I have everything on file for the cops so that they can look through everything, where I said, here, David, here's money for your food and for your house. And Terry's like, she's trying to hire him to kill me. She's trying to kill, I think she's going to kill Tosh. Like she killed Max. I think she tried to kill the Harveys. Like she's trying to portray me as a murderer so that, and what they're doing, I talked to the cops and the cops are like, we know what they're doing. They're trying to groom people to come and hurt you. That's what they're trying to do. So the cops are aware of this. It's not like they're not aware of this. They told me all about it. So basically, my house was broken into. My car was broken into because people think that I'm a murderer. So they think that they need to off me because I'm a murderer. It's that insane. And she knows exactly what she's doing. She is doing criminal things. So is Steve Cambian. He also is perpetuated. He was saying that something may have happened sexually between me and the Harveys. Whenever there was the whole video footage, I just got wind of that recently, which is insane because
Can I
Jason
explain
Harvey's
this?
loyal to his wife. I had taken my clothes off because when I got an allergic reaction, I knew something was wrong. I have done
Sir, let's
one second.
let's take people to the
So I
beginning
went
so
to the
they know
shower. So
what's
they're
going on.
perpetuating so many lies and this illusion. That's why it's good doing interviews is saying the truth like this, because they're creating an illusion of who we are to the public that we're truly not at all. It's literally dark magic. It's literally black magic.
So let me say what really happened here for this one instance, because it's really there's a lot to be learned there. Um, Jason Harvey and his wife Amanda Harvey. Jason's the son of Steve Harvey, who's doing Family Feud on TV. So he's a well-known TV personality. And Jason and Amanda hired Sarah here to do a
I wasn't hired.
documentary with them.
I wasn't hired. I wasn't
Or
paid for it. And that's another
okay,
thing.
so they
Yeah.
asked you. So they asked you
To be a
to
part of the
do. Sorry,
documentary.
okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So they didn't hire you. They asked you to be part of this documentary
Yeah, I wasn't paid.
and to go buy legal mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms from a dispensary, which
Yes.
Sarah did. She brought them to do the ceremony with
Documentary.
them, and it turns out that these mushrooms that she bought legally and was asked to by them. Turns out it was a strain called Enigma that was genetically modified and tainted, and other people who took this strain had died. Okay. Sarah and the Harveys, they had some reaction to it. Sarah especially had a very strong negative reaction to it. Their security guard did not call 911 emergency services for 4 hours and has since gotten in trouble for that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
actually out in a news
Sarah's
article, and I'm the victim. This is the
Sarah, so
crazy thing.
wait, hold on a
I'm
second,
the
Sarah. So let
victim
me
in
let me
there.
let me continue. Let me give the chronology. So then Sarah's heart stopped. Okay, long enough to give her a near-death experience, or technically she died and had a death experience, and as a result suffered clinical heart and brain damage.
For
Okay,
lack of oxygen.
so she's been in a recovery process over this last year and a half or so, and meanwhile being hounded by Taj, who is apparently, because he has access to her iCloud, is
Yeah,
able to
you went
track
my
her info. He can
Spotify. Yeah.
track her location.
Yeah. And Steve Cambian's co-producer knows this. I told him, and he's like, "Oh, it's okay. You allowed him in there." And I was like, when you get fired, you're not supposed to keep going in people's bank accounts constantly trying to hack into them, into their PayPal's, into everything. But I sent you a lot of screenshots where it shows over and over again him trying to get into my Facebook once we got control of it. All sorts of things. He still has control of another page I have on Facebook, by the way. That's a public page that has like 20,000 followers. Yeah, he shut down my Pinterest account. He tried to stop also my apps and stuff. He's not okay in the head whatsoever. And he decided that since he wasn't going to get any more money from me, and since I wouldn't be with him romantically, that he was going to, as he told my girlfriend, destroy my life. And he has a group with, from what I understand, Haley Meyer left it, but there's Carissa Rodteria in it. There's Tere I think has jumped out. She's trying to do a runner too. There's a group of people whose names will eventually all come out because I'm going to cover all of this and post all the screenshots. It's vile. It's like where they're using the AI for hours trying to track every location of where I'm at, where they're all planning to do this and that to me. It's pretty honestly disgusting where they're like picking on my looks. And, you know, I winded up having severe inflammation. So I was really bloated. I had died of severe inflammation. I was not well. So like, I was like very bloated and stuff. They were picking on all of that, talking about how they could cause me to be in hell, my life to be more in hell. They also tried to sell. Okay. So they literally, so the Harveys called me and told me, they're like, Sarah, they told us to say that you tried to murder us, and that's not true. That's a lie. And then they tried to sell the story. When they got the police footage, they tried to sell the police footage to the different news outlets, saying that I had tried to kill the Harveys, and that tried to tell the news outlets that they needed to print this. The news outlets then called the Harveys to tell them that these people were trying to frame me for murder. And then the Harveys told me.
It's a pretty
and
crazy
Terry's
story.
a big part of that. Terry, Steve Cambian, Carissa Ronteria, Ali Rogue, Tajinder Gill. There are some of the main top ones. This other girl named Tana Lee. There are some of the main top ones. And oh, you got to hear this. So apparently, so I've been with my partner for like 3 years, right? Briefly separated and then back together. Oh my God. So apparently they have this homeless guy called Quincy. What's his name? Here, I'll let you, Brian.
Quincy Thomas. Quincy
Here.
Thomas. So they, in their groups, what they'll do is they literally have these online groups, victims of abuse
Well, I
by
think they're
Sarah R.
mentally ill
Adams.
people. They're really mentally ill. Yeah.
And so what they do is they basically share gossip and rumors amongst themselves about how Sarah has supposedly destroyed their lives. Quincy Thomas is one of these people. He's a young gentleman who claims that he has had relationships with Sarah and that she constantly to this day stalks him in the physical real world and rapes him. And so he fears that, you know, at any given evening, Sarah's driving around like the streets of Los Angeles, the highways, trying to find him to abuse, to take advantage of him. And and people then like Terry will, you know, air this on
these lies,
Not My Rabbit Hole and say, well, according to this person, he's being raped by Sarah, so therefore Sarah's a rapist. Or because people who don't like Brian, like me, because they stayed at my house for a while and they left because they didn't like that. In lieu of rent, I made them feed my dogs, and how could I? I was exploiting them. I was a slave driver because he fed my dogs instead of having to pay rent. I'm so terrible. Therefore, I'm a human trafficker.
Yeah, Terry's now saying that Brian's a human trafficker. And then she said, because Brian, that you said let the dogs out, that's some sort of racial thing towards Taj. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But yeah, to go back to Quincy, Quincy's a homeless man. He's not even in LA. I think he's like in mid-America. He's a homeless man. He took my picture of me in a bikini as proof that I'm claim that to back his claims that I'm raping him and that I'm driving around the highways like looking for him. And this guy is very schizophrenic. He's mentally ill. And Terry and Steve Cambian exploit mentally ill people because there's this other woman named Lauren Pritchard. And Lauren is a very interesting case. And I'll have to send you some information on her if you look her up. Lauren is extremely schizophrenic. She's also an addict. I'm very worried about her.
She's admitted to her diagnosis on air, so we're not
and
doxing her private information. We're sharing information she herself has shared in the context
her
of
videos.
She's acted very unstable towards us.
Right. So now, back in the day, pre-COVID, Terry really used and abused the fact that Lauren she's very like obsessed with me. And she talked about how my head should be chopped off, and Steve Cambian promoted her too. And that's where CW Channer was like, I want nothing to do with this. He's like, I might not agree with Sarah, but you know, there's a video I have to send you where he's talking about Steve Cambian shouldn't be putting mentally ill people like this on his show and exploiting them and promoting them just because they don't like me. He actually did a video, and I have a lot of respect for CW because of that. And so these are the sort of people. And so right now, it's so sad because Lauren right now apparently like is connected back to Tere after Tere did videos about her like demeaning her and stuff after. But it's mentally ill people that Taj too. I mean, Taj is a meth head, but like he's also exploiting like Quincy, who's mentally ill. There's this other lady named Sandy Thuiman. And then there's this other lady who, and this is the group, they think she literally said that like I took her body and all of her blood, and this is her body. And I've never met this woman in my life. It's just that they're using mentally ill people as their army, which is actually worrisome because the one guy years and years and years ago when Carissa posted about how she wanted me murdered, this guy did find me with a machete and tried to chop my head off. And this lady, that was a friend of mine at the time, her boyfriend, who was a military guy, had to tackle him. So they know what they're doing with doing this. And she's friends with Terry. So it's like, and we're going to add in that Haley Meyer is a big part of this. And that's something we can get into later in more shows. But basically what they're trying to do, it is very criminal because they're trying to make you look like you're a murderer, a human trafficker, you're evil, and then they're trying to groom people who are mentally ill to find you and hurt you. And that's something the police actually told me from their own mouths.
They're also creating so many different stories and lies that it's hard to even respond to them all because they're coming at you from so many different angles of attack with so many different names and people that it's hard for the average person to even keep track of all of the different angles of attack. And I did see the thing where Terry was posting about Brian, where he was, from what it seems like to me, he was trying to help someone out by letting them stay at his house, made them do some basic chores, and the guy freaked out about it. It's like, well, if you don't like that, then go get a job and get your own place to stay.
Exactly. It's like Taj acting like a victim all these years. So 10 years, Taj, plus that he worked for me. And he's the victim of me, even though I paid for everything for him. He's the quote victim. 10 years, and only 10 years later, once I cut him off of money, does he come out and be like, Sarah's a terrible person? It doesn't take much logic to realize exactly what he's doing. Like exactly what he's doing. He approached my boyfriend. He's like, you should leave her. Da, da, da. My boyfriend doesn't like him at all. He thinks he's one of the ugliest, most horrible people he's ever had to encounter. And I completely agree, considering this person was a predator that for 10 years was doing meth and lived off the money of me helping other people to heal. And I have sincerity in my heart after healing myself of helping other people heal. And he lived off of that and then tries to act the victim. So yeah, I think that that's a terrible monster to be like that. But the thing is like the illusion that Terry and her crew create is they're all victims. They're poor things. They're the ones that, oh my God, are being stalked. Her face isn't all over my page. Tasha's face isn't all over my page. Steve Cambian's face isn't all over my page. I mean, Carissa stopped posting about me because I had to get a court order on her. You don't see their pictures or anything all over my page. However, you do see that my face all over their pages, which right away says that they're the stalkers, there's the cyber bullies, and it's like very evident to see. It's why none of these people are going to sue me because they can't sue me. And if they did try to sue me, I mean, me and Brian talked to this other one girl's lawyer. He said what they were doing should be reported to the FBI because it's criminal. He literally told this girl, she's part of their group, to get away from them. That's how bad he said it is.
Yeah, and they'll take any angle of attack they can. If they can't shut you up, what they'll do is they'll try to find your weak points, and they do this to everyone. They've done this to people and drove them to suicide, like with David Wilcock. Who knows what happened with Isaac? I think Isaac personally was murdered, but the official story with him is suicide. Obviously, you had the Max Spears situation take place, and there's many other people they've done this to. They've driven people off the internet. They've tried to ruin people's careers, personal lives. And there's like a funny way to troll people online. Like, I watch Pod Awful, and he cyberbullies people, but it's always to a comedic end. It's not to like try to life ruin someone. It's always just for laughs. And that's where like there needs to be a line drawn in the sand where cyberbullying shouldn't be allowed to the point what these people are doing, which is the life ruination stuff, the driving people to
Well,
suicide, and then
if I
blaming other people for it, right?
Right, and
Like,
putting our lives
there's
in
an
danger
even
because I've been hiding out in a hotel. I'm in a hotel right now. I'm in a beautiful hotel and I'm not complaining. But it does suck that I have to hide out, from these people because they have literally put my life in danger.
if I may, there's an even more sinister agenda to all of this. This goes beyond the opportunism and careerism and sadistic cyberbullying. Okay, it's people who are coming out and telling truths that are very uncomfortable to people who want to run a very pro-Zionist line and who want to hide these pedophile trafficking Luciferian networks.
I look like I've seen a ghost. Yeah, I have. And someone that was very close to me, I'm pretty sure they were just there to infiltrate me. These are really fucking bad people, and I'm beyond pissed. I don't even know how to describe the feeling inside of me. It's bad. It's bad, guys. These people are bad. They tried to set someone up that you know and love. They're fucking evil. These people are evil. These people are evil. They're unregistered foreign agents.
Anya Wick refers to them. She's a niece of Jeffrey Epstein, the daughter of Mark Epstein, aka Puggy, Jeffrey's brother. She has outed them as the cult of Baal. So whenever anybody in our community starts to get into exposing and undoing the child trafficking, the PDF files, the fact that there's the occult satanic elements to all of this, then we're especially targeted. And from the outside, it might look like we're media personalities or influencers or truth tellers, tinfoil hat conspiracy people, is what they would label me in my case. And, I'm just being attacked on that grounds because like I'm an easy target. But really and all of us truth tellers are starting to point to the same roots of the Pizzagate files, the Epstein files, the Wiener laptop, the Illuminati, and on and on. They all have the same, all the tentacles lead to the same octopus. And
Right.
it's whoever
And
is in danger of pointing to that octopus,
that's
that's
where
who
I
gets
got
targeted.
that's where I got put on the map is when I did do that interview. I wasn't looking for fame. I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't want to do the interview. Like I said, I was having the experiences of where I was literally like I was in these child's bodies where they were and all these terrible things were happening to them because I have these abilities and I was told, go tell this to the world. And I did that video. I didn't want to do it. Max was like, Sarah, you're really gifted. You're experiencing things. You need to talk about them. So I ended up doing a video with Miles Johnson last minute. I was trying to get out of it. And he was like, I'm not leaving until I do an interview with you. And it was about that. It was about, these children being abused, satanically abused. And then that's when I noticed I got attacked like on every level possible. And I'm like, okay, yes, because I do believe that in the dark forces, the Gnostics talk about like the demiurge and people being possessed, things like that. And I noticed I got really attacked. And then, with the whole Epstein files, it's like everyone's like, you're a hero for saying these things. And I was just like heartbroken. I did a video that Tere actually stole and was like, Sarah's grifted. I didn't ask for any money. She's asking for money. By the way, she's asking for money from cyberbullying. She's grifting. Oh, I'm going to talk lies about this person. Send me some money. Poor me. She's a grifter. So is Cambian.
I am having a financial situation that I'm going to have to address. I am not employed at the moment. And so I will have to be seeking employment, especially for the summer, because I won't be taking any classes. And, some of the work that I have been doing is here on Not My Rabbit Hole. So, if you do care to support me in some way, I do take super thanks and super chats here on the channel. And if it were ever a time for you to go, hey, Terry, here's $10 for cat food, or here's coffee, because you can buy me a coffee. I have links also on my page here as well. It would be now.
And they're the biggest freaking grifters out there. But anyhow, wasn't making any money off those videos whatsoever. I didn't look to make money off those videos. I was just speaking about what I experienced and how, because I care about children. I was an abused child. I literally was severely abused. I care about children, that children have, that they have safety in the world, that they're okay, that they're not exploited or murdered. So I really, truly care about that. And I did that video, and it was like, okay, all hell broke loose on attack her because she's talking about what's happening behind the scenes. And I do feel like, it's been a journey to get that out in the open. And now it's in the open, which is needed. I still feel like we're dealing with these Zionists, like you say. Well, I say Zionists. You say the Khazarian Mafia.
Khazarian Mafia, the Khazarians.
And I'm finding out that Steve Cambian has and so does Terry, has roots to this big chess player. And I'm like, okay, I don't think this is a coincidence, honestly. So I'm investigating that and looking into that, because there's a lot behind the scenes that I found out. And I believe that this goes much further. I believe that they were also set on David Wilcock, Isaac Kappy. I saw Terry was trolling David Wilcock in 2011 or something. I think it was 2000.
It was a while ago.
It was wow. Yeah. She was just on him. I don't get it either, because no offense. I think why are they picking on, it's crazy that Terry, Cambian, Taj are picking on people's looks. It's well, how did you guys look in the mirror? You should be picking on people's looks. They were tearing David's looks down entirely. Well, Terry was, Cambian was. I was like, what is wrong with these people? That's just so evil to constantly tear a person's looks down. What does that have to do with investigative journalism? It's not.
I think David Wilcock was friends back in the day with David Seaman. David Seaman was one of the largest voices in uncovering Pizzagate with people like myself. And Brian is right. The Khazarian Mafia, the Zionists, same thing. They went from Khazar to Odessa, and then they became the Odessa Mafia. And they're not like the ancient tribes of Israel. These are people that are trying to steal that inheritance from, the people that are actually the lost tribes of Israel, which is why Israel is not the state of what Israel is in the Bible. It's something completely man-made. And these people, if you take a look at the Kino Casino, who brings on Stephen Cambian, who then brings on Tere Joyce, there's a direct line there between these people. Tere Joyce is, in one sentence, she's out there saying, oh, I need to get a job because I have no money. But then she's also somehow buying new camera equipment, and she's a perpetual student, which costs money as well, unless she's just racking up student loans. And I don't know when she's going to pay those back, when she's 1,000 years old and dead. So, I mean, it's insane. But the thing is there's a direct connection between all these people that if you map it out, it makes you look crazy. And that's what they count on, is that no one is going to put all the pieces together of who this network is and their ulterior agenda at a time when Israel is killing children in Palestine, getting the United States into another war that no one in this country wants with Iran. And, at that same exact time, with the Kino Casino, that are speaking out against this, every one of the people that they target on that show is someone that has spoken out about Israel. And if you look at the people that this troll network over the years has gone after, it's all people that have exposed child trafficking, like Max Spears, I believe, exposed child trafficking stuff as well. Jeffrey Epstein had no ties to Israel. And that Ghislaine Maxwell and him met after Robert Maxwell had passed. But that's all been debunked. Those are flat out lies that have now been completely debunked. Jeffrey Epstein has many, many ties to the state of Israel, not just Ehud Barak, but also through people like Harvey Weinstein that are connected to these groups like Black Cube, which is a private intelligence group that stalks and harasses victims of this network of pedophiles, right? So there's clearly a larger agenda at play here. And there's some big, big money behind like this entire thing that is going on. And people like us just happen to be like, you know, average good people that have lives, have jobs, that I don't want to be talking about this stuff. This is not what I want to be doing.
Yeah, me neither. It's like I didn't, you know, but for me, I'm a Taurus. Like you can do a lot of stuff, but when I rise up, I'm gonna destroy. Like, I'll use the truth. I'll use every means possible to teach you never to mess with me again. And you know, from everything I have found out, Steve Cambian and Tere Joyce are deep state assets that are used to target people in the spiritual awakened community, conspiracy theory communities. That's what they're being used for. It's clear that they're that, and that they have that's why they have their little crews of criminals and stuff. They never investigate. I mean, this is really weird, but it's like Steve Cambian. You looked at my pictures and you saw my post about this person who is connected to you who's a pedophile. Why didn't you investigate that? Tere Joyce, if you're a journalist, like you claim, why didn't you investigate that? You see it. Why didn't you investigate Taj, that he's on meth, that he stole money from me? I post all that stuff. Why didn't Steve Cambian investigate that? Because that's proof that they're not investigative journalists, but they are paid. They're paid to target. They're deep state agents who are paid to target certain targets. That's proof right there. Because if I'm a journalist, I'm going to investigate. If Taj comes to me and says, okay, I'm going to investigate him. You investigate your sources. You don't just take anything and then become friends with the person, even though you know that they've done things that are criminal. That's not a journalist. So for me, it's very clear. Okay, Steve Cambian, Tere Joyce are deep state agents who are setups to infiltrate and look like, oh, they're just debunking people, when actually they are literally trying to perpetuate hurting other people via grooming the public, because there's a whole bunch of crazy people that watch these people too that are mentally unwell, grooming people to go and hurt them, but also to spread disinformation about us to make us look like really bad, so you don't believe the things that we say. So it's clear.
You discredit by discrediting us, they're by default discrediting the movement as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she references me, for instance, Tere Joyce says that my reporting led to a shooter going into Comet Ping Pong and shooting. But then she doesn't continue on with the fact that the one shot that was fired went through a door and hit a computer hard drive. And this was 5 days after a hacker I work with named Big Fish had hacked into the Comet Ping Pong hard drive system, identified 9 other locations where they were selling CP and moving it for Bitcoin. And this has all been documented. It was reported to the DCMPD, who then moved it up the chain to the FBI, to a detective, Daniel Godin, who heads up the child exploitation task force at the FBI. This is all public information that I've documented and put out there with the emails from the DCMPD and from the FBI. And I've interviewed the hacker in regards to all this stuff to get the information out there.
I sent him the email, and then that night I thought about, that I didn't send any kind of confirmation on the email to confirm that you received it, that I confirmed that you received the email. I also wanted to let him know that if he needed help getting into that section, if he needed help getting back to that part, if he needed any help at all, that I'd be happy to help. And so I sent that email first before I actually sent the confirmation email. I sent him another email after that asking if he could confirm the receipt of the evidence that I had supplied him. And the next day I got an email back from him saying that he had received the email. So I said, thank you, God bless, I appreciate it. I don't remember exactly what I said. That's what I said to him. So for the next 2 weeks, I was in contact with him and I was sending him emails, different stuff, because this wasn't just that website. It was connected to 9 different servers all across the globe. This is a huge network. This was a huge network. So back to the Edgar Madison Welch shooting on the 4th. When Edgar Madison Welch went in there, they tried to say that he shot through a lock and into the computer's hard drive. He just so happened this magic bullet happened to go right through the lock into the hard drive.
And that story itself has been confirmed by James Alefantis himself, who wrote in the Washington Post that that's what happened.
And 5 days after that was all reported to the authorities, this guy goes in and does this, in my opinion, false flag, so that anyone that covers this story can then be pew-pewed because, oh, we led to an incident happening at Comet. And then they can use that to vilify people like me that are like, look, there was something very not right about the Instagram posts, something not right about all the code in the email. There was something that we found that was hard evidence on their computer system and all of this. And they use that to attack and vilify us for years. She still does that to this day, where every time she brings up my reporting, she accuses me of being QAnon and then accuses me of causing what happened at Comet to happen. With you, she has other angles of attack where she tries to discredit your work. She's lying about Brian. And then she goes on and says, oh, I'm going to sue these people. But it's totally insane when she's defaming everyone. There's no way she could even do that because she would lose the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And then if you countersued her, the problem with countersuing her is, and a lot of these people, like the homeless people making the claims about Brian, the people, that Tajinder guy making the claims about you, there's nothing you would get back from those people because they have nothing. So even if they lost the lawsuit, you wouldn't gain anything but a huge lawyer bill.
Me and Brian actually did talk to her college, and they said once we do that she's going to be gone. That's
so
what
they are
said.
right. So there are things that we can do in terms of financial remuneration. That's more, if anyone is caught funding the cyber army of trolls, and I'd expect there might be liability there. So, depending on who the troll is and where they are in the troll food chain, they're probably subject to different penalties. Can we get anything out of a Tere Joyce financially? No. Do I want anything out of her financially? No. But do I want her to do full retraction and public apologies, and then even host each of us on her show to publicly apologize
I said,
so that
Brian,
we can clarify the record?
When she started attacking Colleen, was like, I need to tell I said, well, come on a show with me and Brian. And she didn't say anything. She ran. I said, Steve Cambian, why don't you come on a show with me and Brian? He ran because remember what his co-producer said, that he's scared of you because you're smarter than him and he knows that.
We had his one associate producer, John C. Spadavecchia, reached out to Sarah first with a very harassing message, private message, saying, I'll still be here after you filed your false police reports and they failed. Okay, so now people are harassing Sarah, trying to discourage her from filing police reports. Okay. And then he reached out to kind of, when we were calling him out publicly and he was realizing this doesn't sound a good look, he was trying to reach out on behalf of Steve Cambian to Sarah and I to offer an olive branch. And
I said no. I was
yeah,
like, no.
we
No.
said no
What
because
was the olive branch? He was gonna delete Taj and Terry and all of that, and that was gonna show the public that he's not.
by
He's
unfriending them and
yes. He was
unconnecting to
gonna
them
throw all
publicly.
his little crew under the bus, so I would shut up. Literally, that was insane. And then, like, not only that, the things that this guy told us that he's retracted, he's all like tweeting the other night. That's not true. Brian, just say what he said happened to what his wife did to him, because I just
Oh,
want the public to know this from
no,
your
well,
mouth.
I don't want to go into too much detail. What I want to say is that, um, the irony is that these trolls and coming after people like us, the inevitable blowback that comes back to them when people realize, hey, Steve, you can't just sow lies with impunity about people and host people like Lauren Pritchard on your show, calling for people to chop Sarah's head off with a machete and just nod and smile and let that be a thing. Um, you know, then in their own families, they're not going to be happy because they're saying, wait, why is our family, why are you saying these things, making lies up about people, and now we're getting negative publicity on us? And so, they can deny that and claim that they're immune basically from any of the um, karmic effects of spreading lies and slander, but they're not.
Mm-mm.
So basically, what do you think can be done to stop this group from finding new targets, doing this to other people, and continuing the harassment of yourselves and other truth speakers, like
So
people like David?
as I'm an
Yeah.
organizer advocate with 20 plus years of experience, and the way that I was taught over and over is first, we as a group of aggrieved individuals need to come together and put together a chronology, a timeline, naming when, where, who, what, when, why. Okay. Off of that chronology, we need to then do kind of like a 3-page write-up explaining everything that we're discussing here on this show. And then off of that, we need to come up with our demands. Okay. So by having a chronology that basically maps out everybody from, say, the head vampires on down, including this direct funder of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
That's how
why are
high
they
this goes.
connected to Tere Joyce's Cambian? Everybody needs to research that. Like, why?
Right.
Like,
So we expose our whole network by having from the
right.
top to the bottom. And
We
then off of
expose
that,
Terry and Cambian as being deep state agents that are working to destroy people in this community. That's what everyone, for me, I'm doing all these interviews. I have a whole bunch lined up, and it's to get that out there that this spreads like wildfire, where everyone's like, okay, these people are
but
deep state.
it's more than that because we don't want to just expose them. Depending on who they are and what they've done, they are liable for criminal and
Yes.
civil penalties. So my suggestion is first, wherever criminal uh federal cyber stalking, cyberbullying, anti-doxing, and harassing laws come into play, those need to be applied criminally through the criminal justice system to each of these individuals. And then off of that, civil penalties, including everything, including civil asset forfeiture, should be on the table. And that
Yeah,
makes a
because
real
for
example,
damages that they have
right?
tried to do. Yes.
So it makes a real example of who these people are, and then it can uncover further networks above and below who these people are, and yet and undo more of these flying monkey squads.
Yep. The Les Wexner guy is like a real evil dude for sure. I actually went to his mansion in Ohio and knocked on his front door to ask him
Wow.
about the Epstein stuff. But he definitely is a direct financier of the Epstein thing. If you dig into the files, it's highly evident in there. And he's been named by people like Maria Farmer, who was one of the first outspoken victims of Epstein. So he's definitely an evil, evil person. And Larry Ellison, as well, is one of those names that you can easily find in the Epstein files. So, yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe this is as high, that's how high up it goes, is that level of infiltration into the US. I know from sources that Kash Patel is one of the people that got the Epstein files put out there, and he's trying to work against these people from within the government, but he might be someone that we could, reach out to or send stuff to in order to, move this forward.
Well, if anyone out there has any leads or connections to white hat types, people who in earnest are patriots and want to see law and order in this country, please reach out to our wonderful host here or to Sarah and I directly. I can be reached directly on Facebook via Messenger. Brian Tseng, and my nickname is Solar B. Plug that in, send me a friend request, message me directly, and we'll figure out how we can coordinate and put together, again, a succinct chronology and write up and then set of demands that we can then take out internationally.
A great idea. Would you
I
two
also
like
wanted-
to promote where you guys can be found and how people can reach out to you?
Yes, and I also wanted to say what you can do instead of filing a restraining order, you can file a protective order. So what you do is you go to your local police station or you go to the local court and you can actually file a protective order even though that person is not in your state. So when you file a protective order, that's going to be required that they stop posting about you, they stop contacting anybody around you, they stop talking about you. That's what I'm currently in the process of doing right now. So I would suggest if anybody has had any issues with Steve Cambian, Tere Joyce, or any of this crew, that you file a protective order. Just go file, you print out. It doesn't matter that they say they're journalists. The police said otherwise. I talked to the DA in Colorado. She was really afraid that, what happened to David Wilcock might
It's
happen
Boulder County.
to me, Boulder County. She was really afraid that might happen to me. I have they've been keeping in contact to make sure I'm okay. They're guiding me of what to do legally down here. So basically, they said they're not journalists whatsoever. They are cyber stalkers, and the things they're doing are criminals. So you file a protective order, then they can't contact you, they can't talk about you, they can't post. And that can be, even though like I'm in California, that is going to hit Cambian, even though he's in, another state. So it does work cross border, and the sheriff will actually go and serve. I have one of these on Carissa, Ontario. It wasn't a lifelong one. I'm not sure if you can get a lifelong one, but you can renew them if needed. From what I understand, I haven't renewed it, but I'm probably going to go renew it. And basically it says that she cannot talk about me, she can't post about me, she can't do anything. The sheriff went and found her, or you can also get a person to go serve them.
And then another thing we're putting out the call for is in regards to David Wilcock's death, the Boulder County Sheriff's Office, they do have an open investigation. And if you know of anyone cyber stalking and harassing you, the same people that cyber stalked David, then please reach out to the Boulder County Sheriff's by emailing BC Boulder County SOTIPS at bouldercounty.gov, case number 26-1788, I believe it is. And I'll double check that.
Yeah,
Thank
can
you.
you send that to me? And I'll add that to the description of the show so that people can reference that and send that email.
Thank you. We also have a petition that's been getting hundreds of signatures for David, petitioning a full investigation into the cyberbullying that was done by Cambian and his crew. So I'll send you that too. And I just wanted to say, if anybody has evidence of Cambian, if you were friends with Cambian, with Tere, with any of these people, and you know what they were doing to me is wrong, or my friends, and you have the evidence on them of them talking about us, of them complotting on us, please do send that in. You can find me at Sarah R. Adams. That's my Facebook. And then I also have Instagram, and my website is Sarah with an HRAdams.com, and you can just send that in, and I really appreciate that. Also, if you can do the signature, for the investigation into David Wilcock's cyberbullying, that would also be amazing.
Awesome.
Yep, and I just put that in the chat, and yeah, that was 26-1788 is a case number to refer.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Brian. Do
Yep.
you guys have any closing statements you'd like to make?
I'd like to dedicate this episode to the memory of David Wilcock, James Rink, and Isaac Kappy in particular. And wading into this is beyond, I mean, as bad as like group cyber stalking is, and that's exactly what this is, the fact that it goes all the way up to the Epstein files people. And that's how significant this is. And I'm so glad to be here having this discussion in the wake of the Epstein files being released and the validity that, I mean, how much Pizzagate has been proven, just like the Wiener laptops, the DNC servers and emails, all of that, the Jimmy Savile Frank case in the UK, the Franklin cover-up, all these cases are coming together, and it's just that's so obvious to the people like us who, you know, we get smeared as truthers, patriots, QAnon, and whatever. To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, truther is fine. I'm happy with that label.
I want to say that I feel that this is the beginning of the end of this bullying in this community. I feel that this is going to become a wildfire. I have so much support, so many people reaching out to me. It's incredible. Big influencers that are like, listen, we're going to get on a call with you. We're going to help promote you. We've seen what's happened. I did a post on Instagram about this. It got hundreds of likes. People were all comment and they were like, wow, you know, we saw these people doing this to you too. So I feel like this is the beginning of the end of these people doing this in this field. And I think it's good because it's going to scare other people from doing this, because these people, Tere Joyce, Cambian, that whole crew are going to be an example of the destruction that will happen to you if you want to make lies up and be evil to others online and do evil things. And it's like I said, this is the beginning of the end for them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for both of you coming on here and taking the time to have this discussion and being brave enough to confront these people directly. And I wish you both the best in your truthing careers. And hopefully we'll stay in touch and maybe have another conversation soon and see where this all goes.
Thank you for having us on. And thank you for everyone for listening and watching, and please share. God bless.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Them chains with trust are calling. Close the line, there's no time for talking. Still breathing knowledge, capture that and your feet start running. Big dreams are pending, there's no time, all the clocks are bending. Light pulsating, bloodstreams coming. Replace the anchors, they start flooding. There's no minefield, just keep running. Bandways are open, betrays jumping. Reload memory, pound they forgot a key, they're lost. Got stung by the bees, inside humanity's tears. Absorbed by their own disease, life consumed, they forgot to breathe. Locked in fuse with the claws of greed, carved in void, no escape or release. You can defeat, don't exist stars that you can't reach. Bring your beast, we're the glitch. Terror raised under your feet. Don't blink, we're the glitch that you try to stop with fury. Spears of dreams, you will rest, gazing at shadows of your threats. Fested, demonized, hitting echo strikes. You feed on lies with a glistener vice. And it will reply where your system fries. You kill our skies with them breathe our eyes. Terror, it's gonna respawn, and this time no scope, you'll be the pawns ingested. Capsule cyanide done, consequence ordered, evils cross. Underground, you dive right in. We're natural against machine. We're factual, you're stuttering. Inside of pillars crumbling.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed.
This is the age where things are changing. History is in the making. We stand up, our guns are blazing. No more sleeping, no obeying. They live, and it's time to know that our woke up and I won't go back. Fuck the elite, don't cut them no slack. Get them at the roots and they won't grow back. And I won't miss them. For way too long we've been a victim. Now we're glitches in the system, clawing our way up just to get some. Look at how they treat us. Program since you were a fetus. I see reptiles, I see demons sucking on some baby penis. Welcome to the Matrix. This is the base of your enslavement. Most people just don't want to face it. They'd rather be taxed and stay complacent. Not me, not ODD. Wait till the CIA gets a load of me. No Agent Smith controlling me, but for me, that's the way that it's supposed to be. I'm watching. You gotta use your eyes all the time, because the one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind. You could come with me and you will find that you are the master of the construct of your own mind. All the walls within you, never press pause, don't stop, continue. Just look at the mess that we got us into. Now it's time to fix it, otherwise we're mental. We stand our ground, you dive right in. We're natural, against machine, we're factual. You're stuttering, inside of pillars crumbling.
And I will even say this, such an impression is a clue that at some past time point, a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative